And good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cloud Chats. This is episode 14. Yes, 14 on May 20th, 2021, titled Get Hooks, Let's Encrypt, and Goodbye to IE11. How's it going, everyone? My name is Mason, and these are my co-hosts. I did it again.
Yep.
But I will get it right one day.
One day.
These are my co-hosts, Matt and Chris. Because apparently mirrored images, I'm an engineer, but mirrored images, they get me. So, anyway.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing this morning? Oh, yeah, I forget.
Hello, everybody. Is that the music that played in the pre-roll? Was that what was playing last time?
No, we've got new music. We've updated the fonts. Like we're moving on up. No, we moved with the more.
Gotten a time machine back to like a downtown club in like the 80s or something.
It's very lo-fi, very lo-fi, but it's kind of chill. Kind of like it. So, yeah, that's a fun update. A lot of interesting. Those questions were pretty cool today. But I guess let's start off with Hello World. It's for now on. We've rebranded our cold open segment Hello World. So basically, the question for today is, and this is actually an interesting one that I'm going to have to think about. So that means
I haven't figured out quite what I want to answer with the
who typed this?
I did. I wrote it and went, I've no idea what the answer is here, but
the question today is, what technology innovation made the most impact on your life? And since Matt's the one who typed it, he gets to say it first.
Sure. So what technology? I don't know. I'd love to say like the internet, but it was kind of before my time. But I guess like Web 3.0, right? The big boom that we're seeing of the internet again now. Kind of like a new generation of applications with like all the Jamstack stuff. I don't know. It feels like a new era of the web.
Are we in 3.0 still, or are we like little in 3.5, 4.0?
I don't know, Chris. I think we kind of just lost track.
Was like 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that kind of, the revitalization of the web, I think, is kind of, well, I mean, it's like my job. So.
I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking, I don't know.
It's actually kind of hilarious because that Matt went with something so new. I was going to be like the internet, because I remember life without it.
Yeah, I don't.
That boggles my mind. No, I mean, I didn't get the internet at home until I would have been like maybe like 10 or 11, and it was like People PC dial-up. Like it was the slowest, most ear-shattering modem sounds you've ever heard, and it was, took 4 hours to download a YouTube video. And believe it or not, it's only slightly improved since I've been there, or at my parents' house since then. It's still only like 512 down megabytes, kilobytes, not megabytes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That brings the question, like, once most of the world gets the internet, is it one of those things where it's like the older generation is just going to be like, I don't need it because they've been around enough time without it?
If it wasn't for Netflix, and online banking, I don't think my parents would need the internet. I really don't. I think that like they're happy to go out and just be like, they can go out with the internet for weeks at a time. Like they'll go out camping or something, and like they have their smartphones, but they used to not, and they're happy without it. They don't need it. Whereas I almost get like internet withdrawals.
Yeah,
that's oh my gosh, that could be like a live. Like a real life TV show of how they drop people in the like Alaska with no gear. We just turn people's internet off at home and see what they do.
Chaos. That would be hilarious.
Utter chaos. No.
It reminds me of the South Park episode when the internet goes down, and like, how do we know if the internet's down? It's like, I don't know. There's no internet to ask the internet why the internet's down. I'm like, how did people get information before the internet? They're like, the television, and they all run to the store because they like, I don't know. Internet would be one. I think the technology innovation that I don't own, I haven't played with, but like the one I was the most excited about. I was in college when Microsoft announced the HoloLens and the augmented reality kind of stuff, and I thought that was gonna be the coolest thing ever. And I still haven't had $3,000 to shell out for a HoloLens. But I got
2.0
so
now, I think.
you know, yeah, I have a stark rule that I do not buy first generation technology ever.
That's quite sensible.
Yeah, because it's never good. Like
Google
I was
Glass
super
one?
excited. Yeah. Well, I'm super excited because like I'm in Texas. Texans drive trucks. The Ford came out with their truck yesterday, but I'm like, ooh, but then I'm like, no, Mason, that's first gen. So I have to wait.
I feel like the HoloLens has kind of had its moment, and then like it just disappeared, and I haven't really heard about it since.
They stopped marketing it. It's used a lot. Like it's used a lot in like enterprise, like hospitals and
schools.
Yeah, but like they were trying to market it consumer wise, and they did a complete 180 and stopped, and like they just shut it down. Because I remember it was at E3 one year. They were showing off playing Minecraft with it.
I remember that. I was like, that's cool. I don't see the use for it, but that's cool.
Oh, it was cool. It was
early, but
one. I
like,
thought it was going to be really cool.
I appreciate the effort. Like it is early, but they're still working on it, and they kind of give a glimpse at the future, right? Like
it's exciting. Augmented.
I'm all for it.
The idea of like I whenever it first came out, I was like, think of the idea of being like a sysadmin or something and just having like all of your graphs like. Oh, how's this cluster doing? I'll look over here. That would be pretty cool. But I don't know. So yeah, I would say that that was the one I was the most. Chris, did you say what you thought was?
No, I don't really have one, so I'm just gonna do shout outs in chat.
Go ahead.
Like streaming. That's what's changed your life.
I don't know. I still have to get on a good cadence. That's such a hard thing to do, but
it is.
I don't know. I'm gonna go small scale noise canceling headphones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's
I don't know. It's definitely made it feel like I have my own office in my brain when there's so many things, especially remote work. I think it's helped a lot. So
do you get a lot of distractions?
Not as big as the internet.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of distractions remote work at home? Like I guess because you share your office. So
yeah, no, my mind kind of tends to jump around. So it's like horse blinders on me.
That's what I was
But I did promise shout outs. Hold on.
Go for it.
Hey, Killian, what's up? Ishitwa says, fan of DigitalOcean. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Ricardo, what's up? Luca, Wilder, Sebastian. I love it. Code Blitz. Our agenda today is we're going to get into news. We're going to get into a lightning tutorial. Are we doing Wheels of Misfortune today? We are.
We have true or false as always.
And true or false.
Yeah.
Good agenda.
And there's a good theme for this week's true or false because I'm definitely doing themes because it cuts the creation time of those down in half. There's no spoilers. Not going to get to it. Not going to tell you. You got to wait till we get to true or false. So, my goodness gracious. I need to check something real. Yeah, good. Okay. I never even know if I'm always using the right stuff. So, Toon Army Captain says, what's up? Hey, Toon Army Captain.
Hello.
He's a friend of mine from Pi Texas. We're doing it we're going to be doing Pi Texas in person this year. Toon Army Captain. So we're going to try. We're trying. Hopefully optimistic. That's where I'm at. We are at the hopefully optimistic phase. But
what's up, Monty?
The news looks good. Awesome.
Cool. Shall we jump into the news?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump. But I had to get my Stream Deck set up so I could press the button for the news. But I'm a little bit slow and behind today. But today we're doing the news. As always, surprise, it's no different than it has been the last couple of weeks. We talk about recent news headlines and all the fun things that are going on. We've got some pretty cool ones today. Whenever you hear this lovely sound, it means we're moving on to the next news segment. So let's start off with the world of secure internet. Let's Encrypt's DST root CA X3 certificate expires at the end of September. That was a lot of words that I said that I understood about half. This may impact older devices that have not received an update that trusts the newer ISRG root X1 root certificate. Okay, I will be the first to tell you that I do not really understand certificate authorities. Whenever I need to do them, I do it really quick. So someone who understands this, please explain it.
I mean, like, I don't overly understand it, but like, a root CA, right, is the certificate that says a certificate is a certificate.
Yeah, and Let's
If
Encrypt
that makes sense.
uses a lot of intermediates, right? Like that's
Yes.
how, like, yeah.
But there is ultimately like a set of root certificates that browsers basically have hard coded that all other certificates must be signed by to be trusted. Which is why like a self-signed certificate doesn't work, because it's not got a root CA that's trusted.
Okay, this is all sounding very familiar, so you're bringing back memories. Thank you, Matt.
But yeah, ultimately they've got an old root CA that's signed Let's Encrypt certs that are issued, that's expiring, and it's like been replaced by a newer ISRG root CA certificate. But like, as is the case with a lot of things, older devices aren't being updated anymore, and so they don't have this newer certificate. So like, for example, iPhone 4 HTC Dream, as it's got there,
the Dream
won't work with new Let's Encrypt certificates anymore.
Okay, do those work if you turn them on today?
Yes,
I actually have,
because they have the old root, they have the current root CA working.
Where's it at?
So they trust the old DST root CA.
Somewhere in this office, there's an iPhone 4. Because that was my first iPhone and I never got rid of it, and it still has like some pictures on it. I'm too lazy to move them, but it's in here somewhere, and there is an iPhone 4, so we could try to turn it on next time.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, really, this should not impact anyone that's using the internet on a modern device. It's just one of these, backwards compatibility is not going to be as great anymore.
Well, it's probably curious about embedded devices.
Yeah.
Those are like, always the last things to get updated.
I think it's a good move for security, right?
Yeah, no, we have to. Like, that's, security is always the balance between what is convenient and what is secure, and we have to move towards the what is secure area.
But yeah, there you go. If you're in this area of IT, heads up that this is happening.
Yeah. Our next story comes out of the land of embedded devices that are named after fruits. The first Arduino with Raspberry Pi silicon is now available. The Arduino Nano RP2040 Connect is now available to purchase and is the first Arduino board to use silicon produced by the Raspberry Pi Foundation. Okay, so this is like Infinity War. It's the greatest crossover ever. Like,
yeah, Raspberry Pi have been producing their own chips for a while, for the new Pis, and now they've produced a chip for Arduino. It's cool.
Quick shout out to the chat. How many of you have Raspberry Pis that you have purchased that have sat in their box in a corner of your office because you've had nothing, you thought you had ideas and you got home and they went away?
I'm gonna raise my hand here. I have 4 Pi 1Bs sitting on my desk that do nothing.
I have a Pi 3 that's in its box that's sitting, no, Pi 2. I bought a Pi 2 and it's sitting in a box and I know exactly where it's at. Right in there. Never took anything out of the box. I used to run my media server on it. So before I ran Plex, because I love Plex. I think Plex is probably, it's got its issues, but when it comes to like indexing and like, scraping IMDb for like the like metadata and stuff, it's amazing. But before I did that, I ran an XBMC server on a Raspberry Pi connected to a Windows NFS share.
Nice.
This is why I was telling you earlier in our pre-discussion that Active Directory is bad, and that like I've been down the depths of Windows and I don't recommend it. And I used to run that, and I actually that was actually pretty cool. But since then, I've not done, and that was in probably 2013, and I haven't done anything with a Raspberry Pi since.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel too guilty about having them sitting around because it's not like they were an expensive purchase. As things go, it was a cheap tech purchase to not use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm using mine to bridge Nest devices to HomeKit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But bridges sounds like that, right? You just throw them up on the wall or down the back of a desk or something, and they just sit and do their thing.
Yeah. I do like the implementations where people do the emulators and build like a little arcade.
Yeah, cool.
Those are cool. I bought those. I bought like the little NES Mini and the SNES Mini, and I turned them on once. And like, I'm really good at wasting my own money. And I feel like if I landed in the world of embedded devices, there's just like, I'm going to be able to open a store with all the junk that I've bought that I've never used.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to stop being bitter. We're going to move on to the next segment, which is about something called Vue. Oh no, this is IE11. Hello, welcome to the world. Welcome to the world of the internet. Vue has announced that they will not be supporting IE11 in Vue 3. Originally, the plan for Vue 3 has been to release the version without IE11 support and then introduce it after initial release. However, following IE11 usage dropping below 1% globally and Microsoft pushing users to use Edge, the Vue team have announced that IE11 support will not be included in Vue 3. So we are starting to see the deprecation, finally, of Internet Explorer.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like, again, I don't know what there is to say here, other than the fact that Vue 3 is not supporting IE11. Hopefully, shouldn't impact people. Again.
Yeah.
Okay, and what you got, Chris?
Leads into the next one.
Yeah.
That's what I was about to say. Okay, good. Yeah. And if whenever there's bad news, the bad news train keeps on rolling. Microsoft has announced that IE11 will be retired on June 15th, 2022. So I feel like the Vue decision was good. Don't support something that's not going to be around anymore. Microsoft has encouraged users on Windows 10 to switch over to using Microsoft Edge if they haven't already, which is the newer and now Chromium-based desktop browser. Edge is built on legacy IE. Has built-in legacy IE mode to ensure compatibility as best as possible, in line with many other products and OS itself. I'm having nightmare flashbacks to IE compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
There were products when I worked at the university. I did a lot of stuff, but one of my jobs was keeping some of the faculty's desktops up to date and stuff. And we had to write group policy things to ensure that we didn't update past IE6 because some of the university's internal technologies could not run on anything newer than IE6. I'm getting flashbacks here, and this is scaring me. Matt, have you ever even used IE? Are you old enough to have used IE?
Yeah, I used to use it back on the old Windows XP home computer. Back when there was only one computer in the family, I used to sit there and play Miniclip on IE.
Yeah, back when there was only one wallpaper in the whole world.
I'm eventually that's a question that I've been leaving out of. Okay, maybe next week we'll do Windows trivia. That's what was the default name of that? Do y'all know? The default name of the Windows XP, that rolling grassland default background. Do y'all know the name of that?
No.
Tune in next week for an episode of True or False.
I
I think it's called Luna, which doesn't make sense because it's grass, not moon based. But
yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Well, our next and final topic comes out of Python places. Python web servers.
To make you happy, Mason.
Well, you know what? Actually, I'm surprised that I haven't had the time to go through this, but Flask 2.0 dropped, and they've been sitting on Flask 1.0. 1.1 has been around for a minute.
Yeah.
Looking at the release cycle, okay, no, we hit 1.0 in 2018, so it's been 3 years. But yeah, so it adds a whole bunch of new features. It's dropping support for Python 2 and Python 3.5, that's good. Bumping a whole bunch of versions. Looks like it's just adding a whole bunch of neat stuff. I guarantee you the major version release is just because of the drop of functionality for Python 2 and 3.5.
Yes, I'll say so. The reason it's happened is that they've started type hinting the code base.
Oh, that makes sense. And type hints were announced in 3.6. Yeah.
Yep.
My first PyCon was when 3.6 was released, and I got to I was still new to the language. I knew nothing, and I got to listen to all these people explain why 3.6 was such a big deal. It is 3.6 is when Python 3 became viable.
Yeah.
Some people will say 3.4, but I really do believe it's 3.6. So yeah, that's awesome. That's what we have for Flask. I love Flask. I use it. Fast API though, lots of fun stuff there. But now we're going to move into our next segment.
Wait.
Yes.
One more.
Good save.
Today is Global Accessibility Awareness Day.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So just celebrating the awareness of accessibility. But I don't know. It's good that we call this out because down here, what's interesting to me is low contrast text, missing image alt text, all this stuff is so important for the web, and just good to call it out.
A lot of these are actually not difficult fixes in a lot of cases.
No,
you just forget to do it.
It's effort. It's all it is it's really effort. And I've been aware. I've been always kind of watching the accessibility space ever since I was a kid because one of my best friends in high school was blind, 100% blind. So I got to he taught me a little bit of Braille, but I got to watch him use JAWS, which is the program the text reader program on Windows. And I used to always have to like he would like look how bad this website is and like go through it and like how useless it was. So I've always been a huge champion of the accessibility stuff. And that's why I actually really like using like I use Hugo for my blog site, and like adding alt text to images is just adding text to the markdown, which is easy. So yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's Global Accessibility Day. Make your stuff better. Do we have any Chris, do you know of any like tooling that is you can use to see like that does like an accessibility score?
You know, it's interesting. Yeah, let's do it on the accessibility website.
Okay, go ahead.
Where is it? Performance? No, it's over here.
Yeah,
Lighthouse.
See, I asked the web developers because they would know.
We're full stack, Mason.
Fine, full stack developers. I asked the full stack developers. Fine, you do.
Very
yes,
about that one.
That's fine. I asked the full stack developers because they know I'm just the lowly specialist backend dev.
Accessibility at 100 though.
Okay, so this website itself actually does it. Like you can.
So if you actually in Chrome DevTools or in any DevTools,
no, any
Chromium. Yeah.
Well, Chromium. Yeah.
So there's a little Lighthouse tab right here. You can go and run a test on any website that you're on, and down here, it shows you like what you passed, what you didn't pass, and where you can fix your accessibility. So
I'm going to pull up one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Share.
What you got?
If you're on Firefox, they have an accessibility tab, and you can view kind of the structure as like screen readers generally see it. You can check for a lot of stuff automatically, and you can even simulate color issues and see how your design looks.
That's really cool.
That is awesome. Now I'm afraid to go do that to my website.
Just to call that out as well. Both browsers have great support for accessibility stuff if you start poking around.
That's cool. Well, great. Happy Global Accessibility Day. Make your websites, accessible to people on the web. Eventually that will become like, I assume eventually become like a law. There's going to eventually be some like around I imagine that eventually like,
right?
It's fuzzy. Eventually it'll be handled in like the Americans with Disabilities Act and stuff like that. Like eventually it's like that will eventually come up, but it hasn't yet. But yes,
I mean, like, Google being the massive company they are, they're starting to push for it, right? By having it in Lighthouse, and now Lighthouse scores essentially affecting your page rank.
Yeah, we definitely should like teach. Like, I feel like this is the kind of thing that like we fix this by teaching all the new developers this by putting this part of the curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's one way to start is like you have like if it's something that you just do by default because you've always done it, it's a lot easier than having to like oh, I forgot it.
Yeah. It's great when people put in their like CI/CD pipelines of like Lighthouse tests and get the notification saying, "Hey, this deployment probably not accessible on this number."
Mm-hmm. So we talked about this before. We're rebuilding the community website, and we are going to have Lighthouse as part of our automatic CI. And
that's amazing!
Have to hit certain scores to be able to merge a pull request.
That's going to be good.
So enforcing it. It's the way to make it happen.
Yeah. And now we move on to our next segment of True or False. It's the wonderful game that I have to share my screen for. And we play a game of True or False. I put 10 questions to my co-hosts, and I say if it's true or false. They tell me, it is a hard day to talk today. They tell me if it's true or false. Wow. Okay. I promise that I know how to speak words.
It's not a hard concept.
It is hard today. Okay, so Kahoot, go to kahoot.it with the code 492, I'm typing it in, 630, and you'll be able to play along with us. Today's theme is the 90s.
Oh.
So,
what if Matt wins?
Yeah, I want to dethrone Matt, and so I want to see if Matt knows as much about the 90s as he thinks he does. But it's mostly 90s tech with a little bit of like other stuff. So it is definitely the 90s. I was feeling nostalgic yesterday for some reason.
Cool. Yeah, I'm probably not going to do well in this.
Okay, I'll give everyone a little bit.
2000s.
Yeah, we'll eventually get to that. Get a little bit longer to join in.
Yeah, so if you're in the chat, kahoot.it. Enter the game pin, and you can play along. And recommendation: if you're playing along at home, YouTube is the best place to watch the stream from to get around stream delay.
Yeah, stream delay is best dealt with on that. Chris, you joining in, or did you give a different name today?
I'm Destroyer of Bugs.
You're Destroyer of Bugs. Okay. Okay. Well,
that was the absolute limit. It would have been Chris, Destroyer of Bugs, but
okay. Well, we'll give it another. See, every time I keep saying we'll give it another 10, 15 seconds before we get in. So before we get going, I say, well, I do say that every time, and every time I do it, another one pops up.
Yep.
So like I keep
pressure.
Yeah. Wait, I forgot how we were. Are we giving away any prizes for this today? Is that how we're doing
you can
this?
if you want.
Yeah, winner gets some Sammy stickers. There we go.
Cool. There you go. More reason to join and play.
You got any to show off?
Yeah,
not easily.
Somewhere. After the thing, we will show off the Sammy stickers, which means that someone like Matt needs to pull them up while we're doing the game. This is what happens when you improvise, but I like it. We're going to go ahead and go. It's amazing. As soon as I said Sammy stickers, people jumped in. So here we go. Remember, my co-host, if my co-host win, they're not eligible. It goes to the next person.
Cool.
So, but they have to delay themselves too. First question, true or false? Oh, my goodness.
Here we go.
The original name of Google was Backrub. Is this true or is this false? Well, a lot of people had to. Remember, you get answers for speed and things. So if you take the time to Google it, you're likely not going to get the speed bonus points, and you're gonna not win. So
if you take the time to backrub it.
Yeah. So this is actually true. The first internal name of Google was Backrub after the fact that almost every web page links off to another. They changed the name to Google in 1997 before it was launched. So this was internally changed, and it was launched in 98 as Google. So you had to have known about it. But Maurice and Destroyer of Bugs got it. A lot of people got it. We only had 2 people get it right. The World Wide Web was launched to the general public in 1990. Is this true or is this false? And I keep playing with my D&D dice today. So,
Toon Army Captain said, when did prizes start? About 30 seconds ago.
About 30 seconds ago, yeah. We're not going to do it every time, but we'll do it sometimes. This is false, man. A lot of people. Okay, so the World Wide Web was launched to the general public in 1991, not 1990.
By who?
Oh, I don't know who. I mean, the first web page was. Oh, what was that first web page? You can still see it. It's still up. Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it is because it's not like internet.com. It's it's something weird. So, next one. The number 64 in Nintendo 64 refers to the fact that it launched with 64 titles.
Toon Army Captain says CERN.
So DARPA was the original internet. If you're talking about who created the internet, the DARPANET was the one, and CERN was part of the DARPANET project. So yeah, CERN hosted the first www page. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, we'll get back to that. Yeah, this is false. It launched because the Nintendo 64 was a 64-bit console, and that was why it was the Nintendo 64. Because at the time there was the war between Sega and Nintendo. They were all curious from the SNES, were they going to go to 32-bit consoles? Nintendo skipped the 32-bit console, went straight to the 64 to try to beat Sega.
Nice.
If you've never either read or watched the book or listened to the book Console Wars, like the battle between Sega and Nintendo in the late 80s, early 90s, it's a fascinating history. CERN was the one to launch the World Wide Web. DARPA is what created the internet.
There we go.
That was a lot. Destroyer of Bugs. You're not going to win, so you must slow the roll.
I'm just getting excited. There's nostalgia happening. And
the Tamagotchi was the top-selling toy of 1998. Chris, did you have a Tamagotchi?
Yes, actually.
I had a Pikachu Tamagotchi.
Okay, so we're getting into my bit here. I had one as well.
Okay, well, that's good.
Have a resurgence since?
Clearly, In like the early 2000s?
Yeah. So the Tamagotchi was not the top-selling toy of 1998 or even the back half of the 90s. It was actually that little demonic creature they call a Furby.
Okay.
Actually, have you ever seen a Furby, Matt?
Cursed.
They're cursed.
I stood in line at
cursed
Walmart for Black Friday for a Furby.
Did you really?
I got dragged by my mom.
This is true or false. A T2 line was capable of transmitting 6.3 megabits per second. Is this true or is this false? A T2 line was capable of transmitting 6.3 megabits per second. This is true. The T2 line was capable of 6.3 megabits per second and cost anywhere from $1,500 to $3,500 a month to run. So you only had them at offices, or you had a lot of money and you were running 6.3 blazing fast megabits per second lines at your house. Next question. The Java programming language was developed in 1995 by Oracle.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. Java programming language was developed in 1995 by Oracle. This is false. It was developed in 1995, but it was developed by Sun Microsystems. During the Oracle Sun Microsystems acquisition, Oracle purchased all of Sun's technology, which includes Solaris, ZFS, and Sun were some of the big ones that were purchased. So Java was made by Sun, and then Oracle bought it, and I'm not going to have an opinion after that. Construction on the International Space Station began in 1996. Y'all can't hear the music. You are?
Yeah. No.
Well, this is a space one, Matt.
But
were you even born in 1996?
No, I'm born in 2001. So like this is completely before I was born.
I'm really upset with you, Matt. I'm really upset with you, Matt. This was true. Okay, maybe I made this one a little bit too hard this time, but that's fine. This is true. Construction on the International Space Station began in 1996. Oh, Ricardo's coming up, so we're doing good.
Nice.
Next
Ricardo.
question. The popular FPS game Doom was released in 1993.
You know, it was released earlier this week. Doom running on Cloudflare workers.
Oh my God,
with
really?
Multiplayer support.
If you look back at old video games and like the fact that they ran on like 8 megs of memory of ROM with 128 kilobytes, I just I miss old games. Yes, this is true. I'm glad people got this. The popular great game Doom was released in 1993, giving birth to pretty much the FPS genre. I mean, that between that and Wolfenstein, which I believe Wolfenstein was FPS, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, next question. The PlayStation was released in North America in 1997. Was the PlayStation released in 1997 in North America? Because this was actually at the time when video game stuff was getting released years earlier in Japan. You know,
talk about memories.
Right? This is false. The PlayStation was released in North America in 1995 and earlier, I think 1993 in Japan. So, yeah, but Matt, I don't know if you like. As someone who played a lot of Nintendo handheld games, I remember like having to wait. Like a game would get dropped in Japan, and then I'd have to wait a year for it to be localized before it got to North America.
How have I jumped to number one?
I don't know, Matt, because
you're born in the 2000s.
Last question. Game Boy Color, released in 1998, required 2 AAA batteries to run.
I feel like it was double A's.
Yeah.
Or maybe my hands were smaller back then.
By the way, my first gaming console, gaming anything ever, was the Game Boy Color, and it's that one on the top left. It was the clear purple. This was false. The Game Boy required AA batteries. As anyone who ever had to search through their parents' house and ask for batteries, and that was like, oh, if you mow the grass, you'll get 2 batteries. Like, That was how they controlled, your ability to your screen time is just wait for the thing
Yeah.
to die.
You
Back
just
in the
steal
day, though,
TV
when
remote.
things use batteries that were like replaceable.
I mean, this Nintendo still uses batteries for like their like wireless GameCube controllers. It irks me. Number 3, 4 out of 10, Chris. Okay, so the numbers are a little bit low this time.
They are.
3, Matt with 5 out of 10. Who's going to win? Is it Ricardo? I think Ricardo's going to pull in lead here. Ricardo, you win, and you win. Matt, do you have? Show them what they won. Matt,
I don't know. Hang on. Hang on.
Matt, you had one job.
Wait, which stickers?
I don't know. I was like, what am I showing it?
The sticker packs, like the 2 from Codis.
Oh,
well, hang on. Just
Ricardo, you won some stickers.
Share screen, share. Stickers. You win some of these. Is that what you wanted, Mason?
Yes, that's what I wanted.
Zoom in. I like the X-ray one.
Ah, view larger twice.
Yeah. So
there you go. Lots of stickers. Enjoy.
Oh, I meant to type Ricardo. I'm sorry, I mistyped. So email mason@digitalocean.com and we will get your shipping information so we can ship to you 2 sticker packs with some DigitalOcean stickers. That's all we have for True or False today. And that was fun. What'd y'all think of the 90s theme?
I feel very young.
I got to go dig some stuff out of storage.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff there. But now we're moving on to our lightning tutorial. This week, Matt is going to give us a quick tutorial on GitHooks. So Matt, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Okay. We're going to kind of rush through this because it might get too long. We'll see. We're going to start from, we're in an empty directory currently. Reference, there's absolutely nothing here. So we're going to start completely from scratch. First thing we're going to need is an npm project to run ESLint. I'm going to demo GitHooks in the context of ESLint because it's nice and simple. ESLint, if you haven't used it, is a linting tool for JavaScript. So we're going to run npm init-y, which just creates an empty npm package for us. And then we're going to run npm i --save-dev ESLint, which just installs ESLint as a development dependency for us so that we can run it.
Wait, can I get some context? What are we doing?
GitHooks. We'll get into it as we go. GitHooks, they are hooks for Git, as the name implies, right? We'll get into it. I'll explain as we go. Like, you use them to hook into any Git event you want. So in this case, we're going to do a pre-commit hook. We're going to use ESLint to link your code before you commit it. So that's what we're doing. But we're going to try and rush through this. So we've installed ESLint, nice and simple. Next thing we're going to do is create a file that we're going to use as our test file. So I'm going to open up Vim. We're just going to call the file test.js. And inside it, we're going to write the most bare bones code we can. Again, just so that we can test some stuff here. You'll see here, I've made some style decisions here. We have spaces between our curly brackets, and we're using single quotes, which will be important in a second. So we'll write that file and quit out of Vim. And now we're going to create our ESLint config, which again is just the tool we happen to be using as part of our Git hook here. So we run ESLint --init to initialize, and we're going to tell it to inspect our JavaScript file that we just wrote. I'm going to tell it to look at all the JavaScript files we have, which is just one. Or indeed, I want a JavaScript config file, just because that's my personal preference. We'll say we're using ES6, but we're not using modules. And we'll target Node in this case. Not writing React. And ESLint has dumped out a config for us. I'm not going to dive into the config here. Again, we're just using this as a demo of GitHooks. So now we've created our config based on that file we wrote. We're going to jump back into it, and we're going to make it a mess so that ESLint gets nice and angry at us. Let's remove some spaces. We'll switch out our quotes to be double quotes instead. We'll even remove the semicolon at the end here. Make ESLint nice and angry at us. Now, if we run ESLint, you'll indeed see that it does not like the fact that I've made those changes. So for reference, ESLint's unhappy. And now we can dive into the GitHook side of things, now that we've got an unhappy file that ESLint dislikes. So the first thing we're going to do, create a directory to store our GitHooks in. It can be whatever you want. I'm going to call it .githooks. And then we're going to create a file inside it. And this file has a specific name that it needs to have. So in this case, we're going to hook into the pre-commit event. So in Git, the way you add files and store them is by committing them. And the pre-commit event runs before you commit the file. And if whatever your hook contains, if it exits status 1, the commit will fail. And so that's kind of how we're going to run this. So create a file name pre-commit, open up in Vim. And I'm going to copy paste here to save a bit of time. But essentially, this is a bash file, and you can put whatever you want in here to run before your commit. And it just has to exit either status 1 or status 0. So we're doing a few things in here. First of all, we're locating our ESLint config, ESLint executable, which is in our node modules folder. It's where Node installs it. We're then going to actually run ESLint against all our JavaScript files. Obviously, customize that to whatever you want. Even if you're not running ESLint, you can put anything in here again. And then we're just outputting whether it passed or failed. And importantly, if it failed, we then exit status code 1 to tell the Git hook that the hook failed and that it should abort the commit. So with that in place, we can write that out. And importantly, as it's a bash file, we need to make it executable using chmod. We'll do that, and it should now be executable. So let's make this into an actual Git project and try committing it. So we can do git init doc just to make this a Git repo where we're working currently. Then we need to configure our Git hooks so that kind of Git knows that we have Git hooks. And this is where I said, this can be any directory you want. So you run git config, and then it's core.hooks path, if I recall correct. And then you provide the folder that you've put your hooks inside. So in this case, it's .git hooks. It now knows that we've got those commit hooks in place, and it will run them when we commit things. One other thing we're going to do really quickly so that we don't start committing a lot of stuff, we're going to exclude node modules from Git. So we're just going to echo that into a git ignore file so that we're not interested in dealing with what's in node modules. It's very standard practice to ignore that stuff. And now we can run git add -a to add everything other than node modules into our stage section of Git. That's what you do before you commit stuff. You tell Git, I want to commit this stuff. And then we just run commit. We'll give it a message here. If I could type initial commit. And when I press enter here, our Git commit hook should run, and ESLint should show us the same error we saw before. There we go. It showed us the error, and it's aborted the commit.
So that commit is not anywhere.
Yeah, so if I run git log, there are no commits. It stopped that commit happening because it failed the commit hook.
Super cool.
So it's just one extra thing you can do in a Git repo to protect against you ever committing code that fails linting. You can put a full CI in here, right? You can run a full test suite on every commit. I wouldn't recommend doing it because in large repos, it gets really slow. But you've got a bash file, so you could actually filter that down to just the files you've changed using git diff or whatever. So it's very versatile.
Very. Well, the next question is this the location where you could run Lighthouse?
Yeah, so if you wanted to run Lighthouse before every commit, sure could. There are a lot of other. I think there's a lot of other places you can hook into. I think it's probably a pre-push off the top of my head as well. So you could actually allow a developer to commit stuff locally. It's bad, and then before they push it back up to your remote repository, you lint at that point. Personally, I prefer always linting before you commit. It's a bit cleaner, but yeah. In fact, just for proof that this works, if we do then run ESLint and fix our bad code, and then try committing again in the same way, it will pass and commit stuff. And if we then run git log, you can see that it has actually committed. So there you go. Really quick demo.
Way cool.
That's real cool.
I recommend looking into it. Again, Git has some awesome man pages. They're a bit of a pain to read, but I recommend diving into it if you're kind of a hardcore Git user. Git hooks are really cool.
I've heard about them before, but I've never actually like dug into them. So it was really cool to actually see them like working.
Yeah, like it's actually really simple to get working. Like it's just a bash file. Obviously you can write complex logic in there if you want to, but you can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be.
So if I don't know too much about GitHub Actions, is this somewhat similar of a task that you could throw also in GitHub Actions?
Yes, like you could, in theory, then just because like this has committed the Git hook into the repositories. The Git hook exists. And if you had a second developer, they could then pull this down, register Git hooks locally themselves, and it would run that Git hook that's committed and tracked. So you could then write a GitHub action that uses the same Git hook again on a pull request or whatever in GitHub Actions. Yeah. It's like it's just running bash, and like that's what GitHub Actions does as well. So
yeah, bash and hooks. Yeah. That's really cool.
That's pretty great. Thanks for the demo today, Matt.
No worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to spend
but
yeah, I'm going to be spending a lot of my day just redoing a lot of repos now.
It would save me time and needless commit messages of no, darn it. That's not what my commit messages actually say. Mine are a lot more vulgar, but we can't say those on stream.
On a single person repo, I'm like not that worried. But like once you've got a team working on this, and like we're doing it for a lot of our projects at work now, it's just an extra step to try and make sure that things are always linted.
That's a good idea because like linting is definitely, definitely needs to be done. Great. So now we're moving on to our next segment. What's on? Not what's on your mind. Read the right thing. Wheels of Misfortune. So if you haven't seen this game before, this is the game where we spin the wheels and we decide what kind of application we're going to develop. So we have a wheel that is what kind of application we develop. We have a scale wheel, how many people it needs to support. And then we have the Wheel of Misfortune that basically gives us some form of limitation or issue that we have to try to overcome, and we will discuss it usually within a time limit. Are we doing the time limit today, guys, or are we just going to move forward with?
I say do the time limit.
I say do the time limit. Puts pressure on us.
How much time are we going to do it for? Online stopwatch. They use the OG online stopwatch. Also, we're going to be. Are we doing this in FigJam today, Chris?
Yep. Let me get a link.
Okay. I think let's do 7 minutes. Makes life a little bit quicker.
Sure.
And
a link I just want to acknowledge. Nero in chat. ESLint prevents the tabs versus spaces war. I agree. I'm not going to comment on either side of that war, but ESLint lets you solve that so that everyone's on the same page about it, and then a pre-commit hook. Make sure that everyone's on the same page about it.
I've wondered if we should do like when we get to like episode 50 or like a special one, should we just literally come in and do nothing but hot takes? Like, should we just have a cloud chats that's nothing but hot takes and like VS Code's the best, Emacs is just an operating system that's missing a text editor? Like, should we do those kind of things? Like,
we could.
I think that would be fun. I think it'd be an interesting debate.
I think we'd enjoy it, and I think chat would enjoy it. I'm not sure certain people within DO would enjoy it, but you know,
it's just the developer. These are small little developer flame wars, but they're fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and spin the wheels. Are we ready, my co-hosts?
Ready to roll.
Sure.
Let's see what we're building today. What are we building? An online education platform. That's actually really awesome because we're all really dedicated to that. How many people are we helping? Give me a big number.
Okay, over 1 million. Cool.
Okay, now this is gonna be spicy. What's it gonna say? So build Google. Okay, we have to build
I know where Matt's going.
I know exactly where I'll go with this.
Okay. Well, let me repeat the thing. So the prompt is we're building an online education platform that supports over 1 million users with less than a second of load time. And I swear, and fourth wheel, can't talk about Cloudflare.
I wasn't going to.
And we start now. So.
Okay, well, like, first of all, less than 1 second isn't that much of a challenge in the modern world. Unless you're doing like some really heavy server-side computing.
Yeah, server side, easy. Time to interactive,
Okay.
maybe a little less.
Yeah.
Easy.
Mason's got to figure out how FigJam works. Mason, you just show.
Yeah,
I'm just showing. Y'all are drawing and driving. I'm just showing.
I'm gonna
my
let Chris.
circle's in the middle of my page, and it's on the. Oh, I see. I had to zoom
You
out.
can move around. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, my instinct here is kind of static content. I know, like, less than 1 second is pretty achievable no matter what. But if you have static content, you're going to really get down that time to first byte and total render time.
I feel like we're just all clicking around this thing for fun. Yeah, Scotch was over 1 million users and less than a second load time. But it had to throw in, like, static content is essential, and we did static through Cloudflare. So if we remove that,
you keep moving things. Dang it, Chris! Stop.
are you trying to use my circle?
No, I'm trying to watch it, but you keep moving it, and it keeps leaving my. Dang it! You're not watching.
I don't even realize I'm doing it.
We're just gonna make it full screen, and we have 5 minutes left. We spent most of the time chasing the circle across the screen.
Cool.
So,
okay. So we're gonna need for sure a server, right? So we'll call.
Can I zoom out? Okay, I'm zooming all the way out. There we go.
Can I get a different? Okay. Well, let's make database that.
By the way, this is our first time using this, and obviously you can tell we didn't practice.
Nope, not at all.
This is database, even though I know databases are cylindrical usually.
Well, it's fine. It's a post-it note. Like, I don't think we need to be very precise here.
Could have just wrote DB, and it would have saved us like 30 seconds on trying to watch you draw with your mouse.
Hey, you all can work on the other side while I'm over here.
I'm not working on anything. I'm over here. I'm
curious.
just
This is gonna just see where Chris is going with this.
I'm trying to get the thing over here so I can.
Hey, would you all want to use Planet Scale?
Sure. I don't know what that is.
I saw their launch yesterday. I have not yet looked into what their product is. So Chris, fill us in.
Maybe I should share my screen then.
Yeah, if you want to. We're at 4 minutes, so.
Share.
It's fine. The timer can just not be what we actually do.
One day.
.com.
Oh, I see.
Serverless database platform. I feel like to go less than 1 second, especially globally, you're definitely talking about serverless-ish, right?
Ish, yeah.
Either that or something with that's highly cached. Like, it doesn't have to be serverless, but it has to be cached. Also, it depends on how, like, whenever you go serverless, now you're dealing with cold start time, potentially dealing with cold start time, which can be up to that can be up to half a second. So we're losing time just on cold starts.
Yeah, it'll eat part of the second for sure. I think though, for an online education platform, it'll be very hard to go static.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's
your core content that's the education content can be static, and then you can have asynchronous interactivity.
Yeah, you're right.
So then you kind of don't need to worry about the cold start per se, because it can happen once the page is loaded.
Yeah. All right. So whatever your database is, I think it'll be fine for a mill. Even like, I don't know. What do you think? SQLite can do it?
Yeah, you could get SQLite doing this, especially with what we showed. Was it last week or the week before? With that static SQLite stuff.
There's gonna be a lot of angry messages about can't use SQLite at scale. SQLite's not web scale, you know.
You can. It's the world's most used database. It can do anything
these
with
were
TM.
a little bit giant.
How do you do replicas of SQLite then? Like how do you have it not just on one server? How do you because it's just a flat file. Do you just rsync your database every now and then?
Or you could have like replication at like the per row level.
You could store it in Google Drive.
And we could do that.
Okay, where are we? Depends, like how much interactivity are we going for here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an online education platform. I would imagine at least like quizzes and like maybe interactive replets. So okay, I guess that we didn't say what type of education. So we say CS education or like education because there's a difference.
Is there?
Well, online education requires interactive terminals and consoles, probably. When you do like online education, say for like just like maybe like chemistry, it's usually just text and form fields. You don't have like an interactive terminal.
So in my mind, I took it as like, let's get to the interactivity that maybe like a Netflix has, where like you can play a video on one computer, go to the next computer, and it'll like pick up where you left off. And stores progress for all the things that you've watched and completed, I guess.
Okay, let's go with that. That sounds good enough.
Not that real time then. So
yeah,
having some pretty slow replications not overly an issue.
Yeah, unless the database is crashing while you're replicating it.
Yeah. Well, just assume that's not happening.
Yeah, let's assume we're not going to have outages, Matt, because that'll totally keep the outages away.
Yes. Correct attitude.
That is not. We're at 27 seconds. Are we going to keep?
I don't know. I'm really enjoying just watching Chris write things.
This is for server because I wanted to save the 2 letters that I saved.
Cool.
Yeah.
It would have been 3 letters, but that's
like,
okay.
Okay, so under a second, do you think we could have single origin server, or does it need to be?
Yeah, you could have a single origin responding in a second worldwide.
Not if they're
assuming good internet connection.
I don't know if imagine. I'm always imagine you're in Australia and you're trying to hit NYC3. I think you need at least some global replication.
Yeah.
So then it has to be serverless functions.
I mean, it could just be replicated. It could be replicated droplets in different data centers. Yeah, I mean, like
or whatever.
Yeah. You would just run
everything.
Yeah, you could just run multiple clusters. Like honestly, this is just multiple Kubernetes clusters in different data centers. You'd probably put one in San Francisco, one in New York, one in probably Europe, and probably one Singapore. Singapore will cover Asia Pacific, and you don't have to worry about that. That way, you're not dealing with 2 to 2/3 of a second latency time. So
yeah, and like at that point, assuming any cast is behaving the way it is intended to, replication is almost not an issue then. Like if a user switches devices, they're going to probably hit that same cluster again.
Probably, yeah, unless they happen to get on a plane and go somewhere. But by that time, I think we should be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
By that time, the replication should be done. Hopefully.
Hopefully. I think we kind of answered this, right?
Yeah. I think we did. I feel like we kind of struggled a little bit with that one, but
I mean, like we didn't really talk about the scale of users, right? But I mean,
well, scale of use,
just horizontally scaling if we're doing Kubernetes. So
exactly, yeah. You either horizontally scale or you take advantage of a caching network, like you do something like Fastly or Cloudflare, and you cache as much as you can, as close as you can to the users, and only go back to the origin when you absolutely have to.
Yeah, and then even if you come back to the origin, the more static pre-rendered content there is, the less load you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And honestly, so like if we're doing this kind of like you were saying, like Netflix, where it's like video content and stuff, then honestly, if you're going to do it like Netflix does, you're better off just building a CDN and just building and then just having having close caches, but having a CDN network across 4 or 5 different data centers, and then caching through Cloudflare or Fastly or whoever you want to use, and then just hitting it from there.
Yeah, CDNs are the way forward when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So Toon Army Captain says, unless they're logging in on Australia and Texas concurrently, no one has ever done that. Unless they're sharing their password, which is the biggest thing that everyone does. So like, hey,
it could be my terms of service says you can't do that, and so I'm not going to worry about the situation.
You're right. The terms of service, because I totally read all of those.
Yeah, but don't need to over-engineer and over-optimize for something that is not intended to be supported.
Okay, Matt. Because customers always use the product the way that you think they're going to use the product.
Definitely, obviously.
That's obviously how it works. I think that's all I feel like every time we end Wheel of Misfortune, we're always a little bit more upset and sad than we normally are. So like, I'm wondering if this segment's even worth it now.
Well, I think some of this is, I mean, when you get to a certain point, a lot of it is the same stack for every solution. So part of it is, should we make these way more specific problems?
We could. I mean, like I feel like this is the first time we've had to worry about scale. And that's when you have to start talking about data. That's when you start talking about running in more than one region. You can't dump everything in US East 1. Even though I worked for Fortune 500 companies that did that, and I'm not going to talk about that because I'm still bitter and it's been over a year. So, you know what happens when you put everything in US East 1 and US East 1 goes down?
Everything goes down. And
everything goes down. It happens about twice a year. Anyways, next one. What's on your mind? We're now in the section, I swear, section of the show where we talk about basically whatever's on our mind. I don't know. I always feel bad because Chris and Matt talk about things in tech, and I don't think I've talked about something in tech yet because that's not what's on my mind.
I like it. It's good.
Because I don't, yes. But anyway, what's on your mind, where we go around and just talk about what we're thinking about. And as always, we start with the person with no face, Matt.
Cool. There you go. Slightly spicy one to round off the show. If anyone hasn't seen in the tech world, Freenode had a bit of a situation yesterday. If you're not familiar with Freenode, it's kind of one of the biggest IRC networks. Been around for years and years and years. In like 2017, it was sold to the founder of Private Internet Access, who's somewhat of a sketchy person as far as a lot of the tech world's concerned. And like at the time, people raised some concerns about it, but like nothing really came of it at the time. And then yesterday, basically all of Freenode's staff team resigned all at once.
What?
Over concerns that Andrew, who now owns Freenode, is taking control of the Freenode network itself. And so they all resigned, have created a new IRC network, and are encouraging people to move over because they don't think your data is safe on Freenode anymore. It's a spicy situation.
That's spicy. Ooh.
I mean, like, it's also very one-sided.
This is going to be fun to watch.
But yeah, the TLDR is, if you're concerned about it, jump on Freenode and run the nixserve command to remove your data. It's like a single command. I can't really off the top of my head. Oh, it's right there. Message nixserve drop account.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what's been on my mind because it's a really interesting situation.
That is interesting. That's gonna be fun to watch. I don't think it's over. I think that this is just the beginning of a really interesting saga.
One single person, like doing a hostile takeover of an entire IRC network. It's scary.
It's also
it's probably gonna be some interesting legal questions, like who has an IRC user of Freenode consented to Andrew Lee having control of their data?
So it was the people that left. This was Freenode staff. These were all employees, right? Or is this open source volunteers?
Open source volunteers with some level of structure. I think.
Okay, that's big. Okay, because if it was like
now with Libera, which is their replacement, that is now registered as a non-profit. So they've got actually like a company this time. They're trying to structure it better so that this doesn't happen again. But yeah, I don't know. Read into it because I don't want to form an opinion on it because it seems very one-sided currently. But
yeah, well, I definitely have to look into it. But yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, that was sitting at the top of Hacker News for like all of yesterday and most of today.
Fun for them. Chris, what is on your mind?
On my mind, I don't even have a solution or anything. I'm just thinking about it lately. A lot of the people that I've seen around in the communities online, wherever, is just having trouble finding tech jobs, and I thought that they were in abundance. But I don't know. So is it, I don't know, lack of education? I mean, this happened a couple of years ago too. Like boot camps, I've seen have trouble kind of getting students into jobs after boot camps. This was the same with university for me. I don't know. Is there a gap there?
So I have two thoughts on it that are in my head. So I'm wondering if it's because there's a lot of attrition right now in companies. So like we're seeing in the news and stuff that like people are leaving, and a lot of people are, if there's a lot of experienced engineers on the market looking for new jobs, does that lower the pool for less experienced engineers? Because basically a lot of people hunkered down during the pandemic. Like they decided like we're not leaving, like we have a job, like we can't jeopardize this. So even if they were in a job they didn't like, they kind of like hunkered down and just like, we'll deal with it till the storm weathers. Now that the pandemic, at least in America, is like starting to wane a little bit, and people are starting to get out and stuff, people are leaving. Like the attrition rates are on the rise, and I've seen a lot of people who kind of predicted this, because now they feel safe in looking for a new job. So I wonder if part of it is that, where there's a lot of people looking for jobs right now, and a lot of them might be more senior, or have the qualifications outside of a boot camp, and maybe they're just not, maybe a lot of people are looking for jobs right now, so it's kind of like pushing down on the less experienced engineers. Does any of that make sense, or is that just out of my head? It made sense in my head.
It makes sense. Yeah, and I think the part that I'm picking up too, that I see a lot, is companies aren't really hiring for that junior level employee. And I've been looking around for, which is, I don't know, maybe it came with the times, and maybe it'll come back, but
I've always wondered how junior people get hired if they're not going through like college job fairs. Like I got my first job through a job fair, kind of. But it's still really tough. Like, so I've always been, and you're right, I don't see a lot of junior roles. I really don't. So that could be it.
I mean, like at uni currently, like obviously I'm coming up on the end of my time at uni. So I have a whole class in a CS degree that's looking for jobs. Yeah, it's impossible. The uni tries to help. Like they have contacts at local businesses that are really close to uni, that offer jobs there, but like they're not. Well, they are tech jobs, right? But they're kind of like family businesses almost. It's kind of you still got a huge jump after that to get into like the big industry.
I'm really starting to wonder if, like, because we've been on the track where it's like the supply for software engineers has been way lower than the demand. Like we have not been pumping out enough people to fill the need of the industry, but I'm wondering if we're hitting that now with a lot of companies that are trying to run lean, which I hate that term. I hate when people say that. Running lean means just stressing your employees. It doesn't mean actually like it, and causing more trouble. You'd get more done if you just paid people and bought and hired the right amount of staff. But I wonder if we're actually starting to reach that inflection point where now the supply is starting to catch up with the demand.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any recent numbers on the software engineer job market. All of my data is pretty old.
Right. Tudor and Captain raised already a point. Like it's been hard searching without a degree, which is really interesting because yes, there is still this societal expectation that you've like been to university, but at the same time, as someone who's just coming out of university now, oh my god, I would never hire someone coming out of university. I would absolutely hire someone coming out of a boot camp, because from my experience and from talking to others at other universities, uni is teaching tech that was the in thing 5-10 years ago.
Oh, you're only 10 years behind? My university still teaches C++.
Yeah. It's just like, why do tech companies still expect you to have like a degree when actually you being to a boot camp is far more valuable.
A lot of people, it's a lot
I've
of
even
people
seen
place.
boot camps be outdated.
Yeah. A lot of people seem to place the store on. People seem to think that you need calculus to do tech, and like, oh, they didn't take enough math credits. And I hear this all the time. I sit on the industrial advisory board for Texas State University, which is my alma mater, and I hear them talking about, we want them to take more discrete math because everyone's going to be doing cryptography, and I'm like, what world are you living in? Like, and these are all PhDs that run their cryptography business, or they're VPs of like IT at moderately large companies. I'm like, when was the like, what world do you live in? Like, when was the last time you put code to keyboard?
Yeah,
Like
just, have you been hiring a load of cryptographers that are like backing up this claim that you need lots of them?
I don't know. The amount of times I'm always like, we would love to see the students take less literature courses and more math courses. And I'm like, shut up. Like, I haven't used calculus since I've taken it. Like, I haven't used discrete math since I've little bit, maybe here because I really like set theory. That's a weird thing for me to say, but it's my favorite math.
Set theory's fun. Yeah.
Set theory is so much fun, but I'm like, you don't need this stuff. And I think that like mindset just kind of permeates and it poisons a lot of the industry, and it's really irritating and it's really disheartening. And I guess the only way that we can fix it is to hire people without degrees. Like we have to be the the force we want to see change.
Yeah. Hire junior roles and be prepared to up level them. Like,
yes,
instead of hiring someone senior that can do it themselves.
Because junior people are so much fun. They're not jaded yet. They're not burnt out. They still have wide eyes and they think they're going to change everything. Like,
oh, that was me 2 years ago.
Right? Doesn't everybody remember not being jaded? Like, it was like whenever tech was fun. Like, I remember those days. It was nice. It's why I left. Why do you think I left SRE and came to advocacy? I'm sorry, I went off on that one. I have lots of opinions about this.
I feel like we could take this to way farther, but I think that we can still change the world.
Yes.
And I think that let's end it on the positive, right? Like, this is the strongest lever we've ever had to change the world with as minimal effort with internet.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing.
I like I think Toonami Capital wants a job. Like,
he does. Look at do.co/jobs. Let us know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
We've got a lot open. Yeah.
There is a lot open. Yeah. Before I go on to what's on my mind, Ricardo asks, do you think work from home is going to become the default? And I feel like this is a trap, but I feel like we should discuss it. Did we want to, like, I'm looking at our backstage person. Can we have another 45 minutes? Like,
I think that we can call that cold open for next time.
We'll do let's do a short answer this time, but let's definitely use it for the cold open this time. I can't not answer his question. This is our winner. He gets stickers and a hot take. So that's what you get.
Short answer, yes.
Short answer, yeah.
Yes, depending on the industry and the company.
I don't. I think that what does Mason wants it to be? Yes. I think a lot of people are going to try a hybrid and they're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
I think so many companies are going to be like, you can work from home if you want, but there's going to be pressure, like Google's doing. Google's requiring people to still come in 3 days a week. That's not work from home.
Sure.
That's not remote work. And then if you choose, you can be fully remote. But if you're the only remote person on a team of all in office people, you're going to miss out on a lot. IBM has a lot. I wish I remember her name. I'll look it up in Twitter and I'll bring it up. But IBM has a lot of people. Has done a lot of research because they were fully remote for a long time. And if your whole team is in the office and you are not, more like 75% of the time, those people got passed over for promotions. Those people didn't get rewards because if it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. If you're going to do remote, you need to be remote first.
Yes, you need to be remote first, and which DigitalOcean is, which I love. Yes. I think a lot of people are going to get work from home wrong, but
like we have offices, right? Like, don't get us wrong. Like, DO is remote first, but we have offices. But honestly, people that are in the office almost just are remote working from an office building.
Yes, there's only like 1 or 2 teams in DO that are fully remote, and like the whole team is in the. I think the only one that I can think of is the finance team. Like they are always all in the office together. But like Chris is in my team. Like our manager would have been in the office if he chose to go back to New York, but Chris is, not in the office. I'm in Austin. Our new person is like we're all thousands of miles away from the office. So
yeah, I don't know, in our offices, like there's hundreds of little booths for just joining call. Like it's just remote work from an office building, and that makes it work because we're entirely remote first.
Okay. Well, anyways,
we'll save
what's
the cold
on my
open next
mind?
week.
Yeah, we'll save the cold open next week. Come back next week, Ricardo. Cold open. So last night during D&D, I rolled 8 natural crits in a row, which is 20s on the thing. And my little brother is the DM, and I've never had him so angry at me in my life.
I'm going to need some context here. Is that like rare?
Okay. It's okay. So you're rolling a D20. I rolled 20. I rolled 20. I rolled 8 20s in a row on a D20.
Oh, okay. That's quite rare.
That's quite rare. And like whenever you roll in D&D, like, the higher the roll typically is like, it's what gets things to work. So like, a low roll, bad, high roll, good, a critical, a 20 is considered like a critical hit. Yeah. And like a 1 would be like a critical failure. So I rolled 20 critical hits, 8 criticals in a row last night and took our party on the wildest ride I've ever done. So that's just been like, I've been over here doing the math this morning and I'm like, how did I do that? But it worked.
Yeah.
Should have gone to Vegas, played craps with Chris.
Come on,
yeah. Like, throw back to the last bit. This is why you need to know math, so you can answer the question of how rare is that?
I'm
yeah,
sure
but
calculator somewhere.
There is a calculator, but like at the end of the day, it's still just
yeah.
So that would happen, and then also Pokemon Snap is surprisingly fun.
Is there a new one?
There's a new one on Switch. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Okay, I never played the original. I wasn't gonna get it. I was like, I don't understand this. But one of my friends was like, it's like being a wildlife photographer for Pokemon. I was like, okay, I like wasting money. Let's waste some money. But actually, it's been my most played game in like the past couple of weeks. I'm just driving around taking pictures of Pokemon, and it's so zen. Like there's no battles, there's no nothing. You're just observing Pokemon in like their natural habitat, and it was nice. It was nice, and I liked it. So yeah, that's what's been on my mind.
Nice.
A lot less spicy than work from home. But
no, I like it. It was very non-tech. I'm down for more non-tech stuff.
Yeah. Did either of y'all have a Switch? Nintendo Switch?
I don't. Switch? I want one. I keep telling myself I'm going to buy one. Haven't yet justified it to myself.
They're fun. They're fun. I love it. I used to take it with me everywhere when I traveled. So, like I said, I've got mine right here. Mine's the special edition Pokemon one.
Ooh. Very nice.
This is actually a Switch Lite. I have a Switch Lite and a Switch. This is what I do during all hands. Don't tell them I was CEO. Just play Tetris. Okay, well that's all we have for what's on your mind today. Before we wrap it up, upcoming events. How companies and VCs think about M&A. I'm assuming, what does M&A stand? Marketing and acquisitions? Mergers and
mergers.
Yeah.
Mergers and acquisitions. Okay, this is which we should have spelled that out. And actually, I'm going to tell our tech talk person, we should probably spell that out because developers aren't going to know what that means.
Ooh.
So we might want to change that copy because I didn't know what it means. Mergers and acquisitions. It's a guest tech talk with Mio Wang and Jade Wang from Cloudflare. Are y'all taking over? Are y'all secretly taking over, Matt?
No comment.
No comment. Good to know. And then that's next week on the 25th. And then next week on the 26th, I will be doing a tech talk on deploying Python applications. So I've done like 4 tech talks on like different Python frameworks. But next week, we're going to take all the frameworks. We're going to deploy them across droplets, across containers, across app platform. We're going to do nothing but a deployment day. It's going to be nothing but live demos relying on the network, which means it's going to be nothing but a bunch of failures. So come watch because I'm going to fail. Because doesn't that just sound
lots of live demos in a row? That sounds fun.
Okay, not only live demos in a row, because live demoing when you're running it locally on your local dev environment, it's not terrible. Live demoing where I'm relying on the network.
Yeah, to deploy stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, networks.
Good luck.
Yeah, like I said, come watch me fail. Okay, so we have that. The last thing we have is always. Oh, and one more thing for next week. Next week, our super secret new guest shows up. We'll have a new, or not new guest, new host. We have hired our third developer advocate, and they will be joining us as a regular host next week. I'm not going to spoil anything because they're going to introduce themselves, and it's going to be amazing. But I'm super excited. So
I completely forgot that was next week. Ooh,
that's
very
next week. Would have been this week, but they have a whole bunch of onboarding like stuff going on right now. So like they just it did not fit the calendar this week. Okay, but finally, the joke of the day. Are we ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. What did the cat on the phone say?
What?
Can you hear meow?
Oh, we're not even like going very tech related today. Okay, I was trying to plug a tech thing into that.
Nope.
I did the same.
Phone is tech. Phone is tech. Phone is tech. Also, tech ones are kind of hard, so I might just have to be going with dad jokes eventually. But I don't know. I felt that was good.
They're good.
Can you hear meow? Okay. Is that all we have? Do we have anything else, guys?
I don't think so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. We will see you next week with our new host. Same time, same place. Have a good day.
See you next week.